Hi, I'm TonyParisi, head of AR and VR ad innovation at Unity Technologies. Unity's real-time 3D platform and engine are used to create and operate half of all new mobile games, and over 60% of the world's augmented and virtual reality content. We also have the premier in-game advertising network reaching nearly 2 billion players worldwide every month with highly performant game and brand ads. Here at Unity, we believe that immersive technologies like AR and VR are bringing about a renaissance in storytelling, and that this is going to have amazing implications for marketers in the coming years. In this challenging time we're living in, people are being more thoughtful about their choices, more discerning about how they spend their time. These technology trends and societal pressures are going to bring about radical and lasting change, disruption in the way marketers tell their stories. New social platforms like TikTok and Snapchat have refined what communication means, with playful forms of expression and people at the center. In fact, Snap boasts that over 100 million of its members interact with augmented reality on Snapchat every day. Games like Fortnite have transcended play. They've become venues, places for people to congregate in the millions and experience new types of entertainment, like concerts in-game. And creation engines like Unity continue to leverage advances in mobile, as well as AR and VR hardware, empowering creators of all stripes to tell stories in ways that were not possible just a few years ago. All this is to say that consumer experience is evolving, and marketers need to adapt their repertoires to meet these new needs. Brands that balance scale and efficiency with depth of experience and expressive storytelling, they're going to win in the coming decade. It's time once again for the creative to take center stage in advertising. So, if you'll indulge me, I'd like to make some predictions about what's going to happen in the next few years. First, brands that embrace immersive AR and VR experiences in the next 5 years will find themselves in the top 25% of earners in their respective categories by the end of the decade. Someday, all physical products will be sold in 3D. They will have a 3D digital twin, and consumers will interact with a faithful virtual representation of that product. Brands that don't keep up will be left behind. Imagine an e-commerce website today that had only text, no 2D images. Absurd, right? The same thing will be true of 3D in the next 5 years. In a few minutes, we're going to take a look at some examples of how 3D is changing e-commerce today. Second, brick and mortar stores will become showrooms for upselling and product delivery. In the old days, we'd go to stores to browse items in stock. By 2030, the retail outlet will no longer be a sales destination. It will be a marketing venue with infinite inventory on display in 3D. Sure, there will still be some items in a showroom, and there will still be salespeople there to answer your questions and be helpful. But the merchandising itself will largely be virtual, rendered on display walls, tablets, AR, and VR. We're already seeing use of this technology today in limited form in furniture, hard goods, apparel. Salespeople use 3D applications on tablets or on large displays to show available inventory that's not in stock in the showroom. Expect this to become the norm in less than a decade. Third, finally, as much as 50% of live event attendance will take place virtually. Athletes, entertainers, and presenters will shift to online immersive services to engage audiences, be it concerts, sports, or other types of experiences. And these virtual venues will offer massive opportunities to thoughtfully and strategically place products and messages for consumers. The current situation with the pandemics hastened this reality. Even after we're through this crisis, though, we can expect some behaviors to change permanently. In case this sounds far-fetched, let me share a few stats with you. These are recent. According to a COVID-19 Freeman survey, 52% of marketers will add a digital component to all events going forward. Morning Consult polled 2,200 Americans and found that 40% of people aren't comfortable going to a concert in the next 6 months. AR and VR are rapidly blurring the lines between the physical and the digital. Some enthusiasts believe that these immersive technologies will be as commonplace as the internet in 3 years. I think that may be a little aggressive. They seem to be taking their time in some pockets to get adoption with consumers. But we're really seeing the signs of early adoption and success. So let's take a look at some examples of how these technologies are being used today. Oh, and by the way, all of the examples you're about to see, in one way or another, were powered with Unity's technology, which may explain why we're so passionate about all of this. Here's a classic children's property that's enhanced its appeal to a new generation. Dr. Seuss's ABC, an amazing AR alphabet, built by Sugar Creative, adapts the 1963 book to use with smartphones and AR using the Unity engine. The app recreates images from the original in 3D and then projects them into the real world using your smartphone's camera. Amazing AR Alphabet comes with a story mode in which kids trace out letters of the alphabet and then interact with the characters for each. You can also jump directly to letters or use the sandbox mode, which lets you pick any of the characters in the app and bring them into the world to play with. It's a really interesting rendition of educational AR. Importantly, it brings interactivity and excitement to the forefront of a digital library for parents, which is a great feature right now with everyone sheltering in place with the pandemic. On April 23rd, players of the Battle Royale video game Fortnite logged in to watch a digital avatar of Travis Scott teleport around the beach, tower against the blood-red sky, and launch audience members into outer space. It was all part of a 10-minute virtual concert, the game's biggest live event ever, where 12.3 million players were reported to have tuned in. This is a great example of the real world going virtual in 3D to drive engagement and experience. One final example. Marketing agency Tactic has been bringing product packages to life for major brands like Coca-Cola and Jack Daniels using augmented reality in the Unity engine. Working with Australian winemaker Treasury Wine Estates, Tactic created the Living Wine Labels app, which enhances bottles of some of their signature wines with eye-catching and fun AR experiences. Treasury's 19 Crimes brand refers to British prisoners who were sent to Australia instead of the gallows in the 18th century. Every one of them was supposed to have violated one of the infamous 19 crimes of the time, including crimes like impersonating an Egyptian or clandestine marriage. Once they landed in Australia, if they survived the voyage, they could build new lives and adventures for themselves. Now they're sharing their side of the story, thanks to the magic of augmented reality. These are early experiments, and they're showing some great results, but they're just the tip of the iceberg. In a decade, all stories will be told and all products sold in some form of 3D, AR, or VR. I think it's important to note here that this isn't only about the great creative we've just seen. It's also about results. While your mileage may vary, the industry is starting to see some great outcomes using 3D for e-commerce. I'd like to share a few stats. Our friends at Shopify report that customers who interact with 3D models are up to 2.5 times more likely to complete a purchase than those who don't. Fashion brand Rebecca Minkoff has been using 3D models on their site since last fall. They found that visitors who interacted with a 3D model were 44% more likely to add a product to their cart and 27% more likely to place an order than visitors who didn't. And when visitors viewed a product in AR, they became 65% more likely to make a purchase. And again, that's just what's happening today. Now think about a few years into the future. Why don't we briefly go back to those predictions we started with? Now that we know where things stand today, maybe they won't seem as audacious. 1, AR and VR creators will be in the top 25% of earners in their respective categories. 2, brick and mortar stores will become showrooms for upselling and product delivery. And 3, 50% of live event attendance will take place virtually. This is where the world is headed. Real-time, virtual, and immersive. And at Unity, we're here for it. We are on the cusp of a massive transformation in how we tell stories, fueled by new technology and hastened by societal change on a global scale. We're living in a challenging time right now, one that's forcing us to do a lot of things differently. We're working, playing, shopping, hanging out, purely virtually and remotely. It's not clear when we come out of the other side of this whether things will return to normal or what normal will be. Without a doubt, the world will be different in lasting ways. Storytellers need to embrace these changes because they're happening fast. The time is now to start telling your stories in AR and VR. Think about what you want to say or sell, and then use real-time 3D to create a compelling canvas with provocative characters, incredible graphics, and immersive environments to engage people and make them listen to every word, feel every benefit. While people can turn away from a commercial targeted ad or sales copy or a press release, they won't be able to ignore a properly crafted story with immersive technology. The art of the raconteur is still as relevant as ever. But now we have new tools at our disposal. And with AR and VR in the mainstream, you can deliver these stories at scale. It may take a little trial and error, But in the right hands, immersive technology has the potential to take the consumer experience to whole new levels. Blaze the trail ahead and take your audience with you. We'll see you in the near future.